Hey everybody, what's going on? I just wanted to get on here and give you some content. Didn't want to start losing people since I have to wait 60 days for that other social network to allow me to go live on there, so we can stream the podcast live on the social network as well. So I wanted to get on here and kind of give you guys an update. And originally, when I started the idea of the podcast, the first podcast was going to be kind of an introduction, a little bit of background on who I am and where I come from, and so you don't think I'm talking out of my rear when I start talking about things. Also wanted to kind of give you an idea of the direction I think that I'd like to take it and things that we want to discuss. So I'll begin by giving you guys a little background on me. I'm a 25-year veteran of law enforcement. I recently retired this year, January of 2024. And I spent my entire 25-year career with the same agency. I had a pretty diverse work experience within the agency. Like everybody, I started out in patrol. Spent several years in patrol before I went to the gang unit, where I was a gang agent for a while. From there, I went on to be a persons detective, persons crimes, so batteries, shootings, stabbings, assaults, persons, crimes against persons, even worked some pipe bombings and things like that. From there, I was promoted to corporal, and obviously went back to the road. Spent several years moving around on the road, different areas. I worked the tourist corridor, and some pretty rough neighborhoods where in the agency that I worked in. Was lucky enough to move back into CID and become the corporal of the robbery unit. So I was a supervisor in robbery, also carried a caseload there, so I worked robbery cases. And got promoted to sergeant while I was in robbery, and stayed in the robbery unit for a couple of months as the temporary sergeant until they could find a new sergeant, and went back to the road from there. Moved around the road a couple of times, different places, and after that I was back into CID, where I was the sergeant in the domestic crimes, child abuse, and missing persons unit for a little bit. Then I went on to be the sergeant in the night investigation squad, and in there I did robberies and persons crimes. So a nice combination of both, working at night during the week, and had a lot of fun there. After that, went back to the road, needed a little me time, take care of myself, my family. So went back to the road, spent some time out there, became the sergeant of the tactical anti-crime unit for a little bit. And then I decided it was time for some more me time, so I moved out to work at one of the local theme parks. And from there, kind of finished up my career on the road. Had a couple of hiccups along the way, but was able to finish a 25-year career. During that time, I did a little bit of acting lieutenant, so I was an acting manager, both in criminal investigations and on the road. So I had a pretty, diverse work experience. Had a lot of fun for the most part, and really enjoyed being in law enforcement. So along the lines of where I'd like to, I see this thing going. There's a lot of things that, I really think a lot of people out there don't know about law enforcement, or have misconceptions about law enforcement. So as much as anything, I hope it's an educational experience. There's going to be a lot of war stories told. I hope to bring on some guests, bring on people that I know, both retired and hopefully some people that are still working, to get some fresh perspectives. Obviously, I don't want to get anybody in trouble for something they might say if they're working, so it depends on the topic that we're discussing at the time. I'm not going to mention the agency I worked for. I'm not trying to get on here and bash anybody or talk bad about anybody. I won't mention any people unless it's the people that I'm talking to, the friends or the co-hosts that I invite on. I'll mention their names, but I'm not here to talk bad about anybody. I mean, I'm going to talk bad, but I'm not going to mention any names. I mean, there's things out there that I think people need to understand about law enforcement. And, so I hope with this, people who are in law enforcement watch, people who are friends or spouses or loved ones of law enforcement, I hope you guys will share this page with as many people as you can. I really want to have a lot of fun with it. I want to tackle some local issues and some things across the United States that we see involving law enforcement officers, and give my opinion on things like that. Recently was thinking about, I've been watching some videos and watching these First Amendment auditors, and I have my opinions there, and hopefully, we can have some good conversations, especially, since I'm going to try to do this as a live podcast. I'm looking forward to some interactions with you guys, and hopefully we can have some good debates and some good conversations and a lot of fun. But I also want to tackle some pretty serious issues. I want to talk about trauma in law enforcement, and things that we go through as law enforcement officers that we see over, the course of a career. And, talk about mental health issues in law enforcement. Some of the things that have caused, individuals some pain over the years, and make sure that we talk about resources and things like that. I have some friends that are what I consider experts in the field, and I look forward to bringing people on. I want to talk about leadership. Having been a supervisor, I consider myself a little bit more of a leader than a supervisor. Just the way I respond to things and the way I treat people. And I would hope that the people that work for me would agree. Some may not. Not everybody liked me, and I didn't need to be liked by everybody. But I tried to treat everybody fairly and equally. And so there'll be a lot of things we talk about, a lot of ways we go with the conversations. And like I said, with the live interaction, I'm hoping to get some conversations started with people that respond. So I'm looking forward to where we go with this. I hope you are too. Please share the page with people. The more people, the merrier. If you have any questions or complaints or concerns or suggestions for anything, topics you'd like to talk about or hear about, you can always reach me at bluetruthbourbonpodcast@gmail.com, and drop me a line. Give me some ideas, something that you'd like to hear about. I look forward to, like I said, having conversations about real issues within law enforcement, but at the same time, having a lot of fun and telling a lot of war stories. Hopefully you guys will laugh. And as far as the bourbon goes, I'm probably going to be drinking some bourbon while we're talking about things. So I'll share a little bit about the bourbons that I drink, and maybe even some cigars, and we'll have some conversations. So I look forward to talking with each one of you, and getting out there and, having you see just a little bit of what's in my mind. And hopefully from there we can, blow this thing up. I look forward to seeing you guys later on. Take care.